So, we have to talk about something we have not yet discussed, and I'm surprised at myself. It is called original innocence, and frankly, it's such a foundational principle that we cannot help but stand amazed when we see the ignorance and denial of innocence itself. Innocence being the idea that not that there are no ultimate consequences for our behavior. Not that being guilty of something doesn't require you to make amends. Okay, I'm being clear now. But original innocence means that something of your very nature remains untarnished and untainted, no matter what you ever get yourself into. And the reason this has to be is you would otherwise have to make a very grave presumption, which is that you can pronounce humanity a fallen race, which, as we know, some religious sects strive to do. More than a few. Okay. Now, where this whole idea came from, I don't know. Why were Adam and Eve kicked out of the garden? Why were Plato's original human beings split into two parts, male and female? Why are all of the indigenous people of this planet having to fight for their right to ancestral lands? Why are we still trying to dispossess ourselves of Eden as if we don't deserve it? Well, because somehow we are fragmented as a species. Somehow we don't remember our original innocence strongly enough to have it become our cerebral perspective, our cerebral approach. In other words, when you think about your life, often you impose judgments upon it. You say, oh, I could have done this better, and there's no way I'm going to even try this because I'll just embarrass myself. But what's really going on is we forgot that we can't make any mistakes. We forgot that the so-called making of mistakes, the so-called embarrassment, the so-called fear, is actually an initiatory rite or process that opens us up to more and more and more opportunities for self-expression. So what we're really aiming to do with this rant that we're delivering to you presently, and with any of the actions in life, including having a child, or going to apply for a job, or giving a public talk, or contemplating leading a movement, or any of the things that inform human growth and evolution, we are being informed by something greater than ourselves all the time. And so where we're at is, evolution is both a transpersonal and a wholly personal feedback mechanism. But unless you hold the bearing of original innocence, you can't take advantage of everything evolutionary that is there for you to enjoy, because you're too busy fighting yourself. You're too busy saying, the wind is blowing this way. I should have my sails pointing the other direction. And then the sails are just going back and forth rather than holding a good tack and staying with something that you know works. What if you discover that the only thing that works is just you? It's not what you do. It's how you are. Notice I say it's not who you are, because that It never changes ultimately, and that's what I mean by original innocence. Who you are, who you really are, never changes no matter what happens to you. There's an untouched part of you. This is the original innocence. But the evolutionary forefront of your being is a place that you can be polishing up and putting nice, filigree on, and you can be making your whole artful existence into what you want it to be. That doesn't mar your innocence either. I think people are often afraid to take step one because they do know that they're beautiful. They do know they're wonderful as they are. And why would they ever want to change that? In other words, we can get a false sense of security from knowing that we're okay. Oh, I'm just fine. You met people like that. No, I don't need to do that. I'm just fine. I don't, in other words, no sense of real adventure, I'm just happy with my life the way it is. Well, okay, great, but what if you have ignored some of your higher faculties or more artful manifestations as a being? You might want to re-examine your okayness and put yourself in a slightly uncomfortable position for a time. But to wrap this all up, original innocence means that Creator is alive in us. Creator, a dynamic force that can never be squelched, that can never be marred, that can always outperform and innovate any of our demons or dragons that are trying to sequester it, because there's just no way. It's got the ultimate kung fu. And it will always wrench itself and wrestle itself out of any strangleholds we attempt to put on it. So, let us just not be divorced from ourselves. Let us not be distracted and at war with ourselves. Let us not accept anything other than an artful coexistence with the divine that allows us to be innocent, even though we presume to know what the hell we're talking about at all when it comes to the divine. There are no names and there are no forms to be superimposed upon this. Capital T-H-I-S. Therefore, what the heck are we even talking about? We don't have to talk about it. We get to have the experience. We get to be the divine. And that, too, my friends, is tied to our original innocence. Keep it real. Subscribe and like.